I 52 am in deep trouble with my family right now, and I honestly don't know if I'm in the wrong here or if this whole situation just got out of hand in the worst possible way. My stepson Cody, 28 got married last Saturday to his fiancée Sarah, 26F. I've been married to Cody's mother Linda, 49F, for 8 years, and while Cody and I have never been super close, we generally get along fine. He's always been a bit of a perfectionist and very concerned with appearances, but he's not a bad kid. The wedding was a big deal, about 200 guests, expensive venue, the whole 9 yards. Sarah's family is pretty well off, and they spared no expense. Everything was picture perfect. Beautiful flowers, elegant decorations, professional photographer, live string quartet. You could tell a lot of planning and money went into making this day special. The ceremony was going smoothly until we got to the vows. Sarah went first, and her vows were absolutely beautiful. She talked about specific memories they shared, inside jokes, the moment she knew she loved him, her hopes for their future together. It was personal, heartfelt, and had everyone tearing up. Even I got a little emotional, and I'm usually not the sentimental type. Then it was Cody's turn. Cody pulled out his phone and started reading his vows from a screen. That was already weird. Everyone else had handwritten notes or had memorized what they wanted to say. But what came out his mouth was so generic and robotic that I immediately knew something was off. He said things like, "You are the sunshine that brightens my darkest days, and our love is like a garden that will bloom for eternity, and together we will climb the mountains of life hand in hand." It was the kind of cheesy, meaningless stuff you'd find on a greeting card. But the dead giveaway was when Cody said, "Sarah, you are the peanut butter to my jelly, the yin to my yang, the moon to my stars." I've heard those exact phrases before because my daughter Emma, 16F, had used them in a school project about cliches just a few months ago. Then Cody delivered the line that broke me. As we embark on this matrimonial journey, I promise to be your constant companion through all of life's adventures, like two ships sailing into the sunset of our shared destiny. That sentence was so awkwardly constructed and unnaturally formal that I knew immediately Cody had used AI to write his wedding vows. I work in tech, and I've been experimenting with AI writing tools for months. I recognize the telltale signs, the overuse of metaphors, the slightly odd phrasing, the way it sounds almost right but not quite human. The realization hit me so suddenly and was so absurd that I couldn't control my reaction. I burst out laughing, not a quiet chuckle, but a full, loud laugh that echoed through the entire venue. The officiant stopped talking. Cody stopped reading. Every single person turned to stare at me. The silence was deafening. I tried to cover by pretending I was emotional and overcome with joy, but the damage was done. Cody looked mortified. Sarah looked confused and hurt. The guests were whispering and taking pictures of the disruption. Cody somehow managed to finish reading his AI-generated vows, but the magic of the moment was completely destroyed. The rest of the ceremony felt awkward and tense. During the reception, people kept asking me what had been so funny, and I didn't know what to say. Linda is furious with me. She says I humiliated Cody on the most important day of his life and that my behavior was inexcusable regardless of what I thought about his vows. She's barely speaking to me. Cody confronted me after the reception and demanded to know why I'd laughed. I was put on the spot and probably handled it badly. I told him that I'd realized he'd used AI to write his vows and that the contrast with Sarah's heartfelt words had struck me as funny. Cody denied it at first, but when I pointed out specific phrases and the unnatural language patterns, he admitted that he'd gotten some help with the writing. He said he'd been too busy with work to write proper vows and that he'd thought no one would notice. Cody is now saying that I deliberately sabotaged his wedding because I've never accepted him as my stepson. He's telling family members that I'm jealous of his success and that I've always looked for ways to embarrass him. Sarah hasn't spoken to anyone in the family since the wedding. According to Cody, she's devastated that their special moment was ruined, and she's considering whether she wants to have a relationship with our family going forward. I feel terrible about disrupting the ceremony, but I also think Cody brought this on himself by being so lazy and dishonest. If you can't be bothered to write your own wedding vows, maybe you shouldn't be getting married. My daughter Emma thinks the whole thing is hilarious and says Cody deserved to be called out for plagiarizing his vows with AI. But Linda says Emma's opinion doesn't matter because she's just a teenager who doesn't understand how serious this is. I've been thinking about this for days, and I honestly don't know if I'm the asshole. Yes, my timing was terrible, and I definitely disrupted their ceremony. But Cody's decision to use AI for his wedding vows was disrespectful to Sarah and to the whole concept of marriage vows. Am I in the wrong for laughing at my stepson's AI-generated wedding vows, even though it ruined his ceremony? Update 6 hours later. Wow, This blew up way more than I expected. Thank you to everyone who responded, even those calling me an asshole. Reading your comments has given me a lot to think about. A few people asked for more details about how I knew the vows were AI generated. I work as a software engineer, and I've been testing various AI writing tools for both work and personal projects over the past year. Cody's vows had several telltale signs. 1. The overuse of generic metaphors, sunshine, garden, mountains of life. 2. Awkward formal phrasing that sounds almost right, but not quite natural. 3. The weird combination of cliches that don't really fit together. 4. Most importantly, the phrase matrimonial journey. That's a very AI-specific way to say marriage that I've seen in multiple AI-generated texts. Several people pointed out that even if I was right about the AI vows, laughing during the ceremony was completely inappropriate. You're absolutely right. I should have controlled my reaction regardless of how absurd the situation seemed to me. Some people asked if I tried talking to Cody about this before the wedding. The honest answer is no. I had no idea he was planning to use AI for his vows. If I had known, I definitely would have said something privately. A few people suggested that maybe Cody has anxiety or other issues that made writing vows difficult for him. I hadn't considered this possibility, and now I feel even worse about my reaction. Even if Cody was being lazy, there might have been underlying reasons I wasn't aware of. The most common feedback is that I should apologize to both Cody and Sarah regardless of how I feel about the AI vow situation. I think you're right. My reaction was the bigger problem here, not Cody's writing choices. I'm going to try to reach out to Cody and Sarah to apologize for disrupting their ceremony. I don't expect them to forgive me immediately, but I owe them both a sincere apology for my behavior. Update 2 to 2 days later. I tried to apologize to Cody and Sarah, but it didn't go well. If anything, I think I made the situation worse. I called Cody yesterday morning to ask if we could meet and talk. He was still angry, but agreed to meet me for coffee. I thought it would be a chance to apologize and maybe start repairing our relationship. When I arrived at the coffee shop, Cody was already there with Sarah. I was surprised to see her because Cody hadn't mentioned she'd be coming, but I figured it was probably good that we could all talk together. I started by apologizing for laughing during the ceremony. I told them both that my reaction was inappropriate and that I was sorry for disrupting their special day. I said that regardless of how I felt about anything else, I should have controlled myself during such an important moment. Sarah seemed to appreciate the apology, but then Cody asked me to explain exactly why I had found his vows so funny. I tried to deflect and just focus on apologizing for my behavior, but Cody kept pressing. Finally, I admitted that I'd recognized his vows as AI generated and that the contrast with Sarah's personal, heartfelt vows had struck me as absurd in the moment. That's when everything went sideways. Sarah turned to Cody and asked, "What does he mean, AI generated?" Cody immediately started backtracking and claiming that he'd only used some inspiration from online sources and that most of the vows were his own words. But I could see from Sarah's face that she was putting the pieces together. Sarah asked Cody directly if he had used artificial intelligence to write his wedding vows. Cody hesitated for too long before denying it, and Sarah just stared at him. Then Sarah said something that made my stomach drop. "Cody, I spent 3 weeks writing my vows. I rewrote them 4 times because I wanted them to be perfect for you. I wanted every word to come from my heart." Cody tried to explain that he'd been busy with work and that the vows were still meaningful even if he'd gotten help writing them. Sarah asked him what specifically had been busy at work, and Cody couldn't give a clear answer. It became obvious that Cody hadn't been unusually busy. He'd just procrastinated and then panicked at the last minute. Sarah said she felt like Cody had treated their wedding vows like a homework assignment he'd cheated on instead of a personal promise to his wife. The conversation deteriorated quickly. Sarah started crying and said she felt humiliated that Cody had let a computer write his promises to her while she'd poured her heart into her own vows. Cody got defensive and accused both Sarah and me of making a big deal out of nothing. Sarah left the coffee shop in tears. Cody blamed me for ruining his marriage and said that if I had just kept my mouth shut, none of this would have happened. I feel terrible. I was trying to apologize and repair the damage from the wedding, but instead I've apparently created an even bigger rift between Cody and Sarah. Linda is beyond furious with me now. She says that even if Cody made a mistake with the vows, it was none of my business and that I should have let them work it out privately. She's sleeping in the guest room and won't even look at me. I'm starting to wonder if Cody is right and I really am just jealous or resentful of him somehow. Maybe I subconsciously wanted to cause problems in his marriage. I don't think that's true, but I can't figure out why I keep making the situation worse. Update 3 to 1 week later. Sarah has moved back in with her parents temporarily to think about things, and Cody is telling everyone that I destroyed his marriage on purpose. The family is completely divided over this whole mess. After Sarah left the coffee shop crying, she apparently went home and had a long conversation with Cody about their relationship. According to Linda, who's been talking to Cody, Sarah said that the AI vows made her question whether Cody was truly committed to their marriage. Sarah told Cody that she'd been having some doubts about their relationship over the past few months. She said Cody seemed distracted during wedding planning and that she felt like she was putting more effort into their relationship than he was. The AI vows confirmed her fears that Cody wasn't taking their marriage seriously. Cody, predictably, is blaming me for all of this. He's telling family members that Sarah was perfectly happy until I poisoned her against him by pointing out the AI vows. He's claiming that I've been looking for ways to sabotage his relationship from the beginning. Linda is completely on Cody's side. She says that even if Cody made mistakes in his relationship, it wasn't my place to expose them, especially not at their wedding. She thinks I acted maliciously and that I owe Cody more than just an apology. The rest of the family is divided. My daughter Emma still thinks Cody brought this on himself by being dishonest about something so important. My brother thinks I should have minded my own business, but that Cody's reaction is over the top. Linda's sister thinks the whole thing is being blown out of proportion and that Cody and Sarah need to work out their problems without involving the extended family. I've tried reaching out to Sarah to apologize directly, but she's not responding to calls or texts. I don't blame her. She's dealing with serious doubts about her new marriage and probably doesn't want to hear from the person who started the whole mess. Cody has been posting cryptic things on social media about family betrayal and learning who you can really trust. He's clearly trying to build sympathy for himself and paint me as the villain in this situation. The worst part is that Linda and I are barely speaking now. She thinks I deliberately sabotaged Cody's wedding because I've never fully accepted him as part of our family. I don't think that's true, but I'm starting to doubt my own motivations. Maybe I did subconsciously want to embarrass Cody. Maybe I was resentful about something, and this was my way of acting out. I honestly don't know anymore. All I know is that what started as an involuntary reaction to something I found absurd has now potentially destroyed two relationships, Cody's marriage and my own marriage to Linda. Update 4 to 3 weeks later. Sarah and Cody are in marriage counseling, and I'm starting to learn there were bigger problems in their relationship that had nothing to do with me. Linda and I are also seeing a counselor because this whole situation nearly destroyed our marriage too. The good news is that Sarah didn't leave Cody permanently. After spending a week at her parents' house, she agreed to try marriage counseling with him. She told Linda that while the AI vows incident was hurtful, it had forced them to address some underlying issues in their relationship that needed to be dealt with anyway. Apparently, Sarah had been feeling for months like Cody wasn't fully engaged in their relationship. She said he seemed to put minimal effort into important milestones. He'd forgotten their anniversary earlier this year, given her generic gifts for her birthday, and hadn't seemed engaged during wedding planning. The AI vows were just the most obvious example of Cody taking shortcuts instead of putting genuine effort into their relationship. Sarah said that in counseling, they've been able to talk about these patterns and work on improving their communication and commitment to each other. Cody is still angry with me, but he stopped blaming me for all of his marriage problems. Their counselor apparently helped him understand that his choices about the vows and other relationship issues were his responsibility, not mine. Linda and I started marriage counseling 2 weeks ago because this whole situation exposed some serious problems in our own relationship. The counselor helped us realize that we've been fighting about Cody's behavior and my reaction instead of addressing the real issues between us. Linda admitted that she has a tendency to defend Cody even when he's clearly in the wrong, and that this has caused problems in our marriage before. She said she felt caught between protecting her son and supporting her husband, and that she didn't know how to handle that conflict. I had to acknowledge that I might have been more critical of Cody than I realized, and that my reaction at the wedding might have been influenced by years of accumulated frustration with his behavior. The counselor said it's common for stepfamilies to have these kinds of underlying tensions that surface during stressful situations. We're working on better communication and clearer boundaries about how to handle family conflicts. It's helping, but we still have a lot of work to do to rebuild trust and understanding. The ironic thing is that this whole mess might have actually helped both couples in the long run. Sarah and Cody are addressing real problems in their relationship that might have festered for years otherwise. Linda and I are finally talking about issues that we've been avoiding since we got married. I still feel terrible about disrupting their wedding ceremony. That was inappropriate regardless of the circumstances. But I'm starting to accept that the consequences weren't entirely my fault. They revealed problems that were already there. Update 5 to 2 months later. Cody and Sarah have worked through their issues, and their marriage is actually stronger now. Cody has apologized to me for blaming me for his problems, and we're slowly rebuilding our relationship. The marriage counseling really helped Cody and Sarah. They've been able to address the communication problems and commitment issues that have been building up in their relationship. Sarah said that while the wedding incident was painful, it forced them to have honest conversations they've been avoiding. Cody has taken full responsibility for his decision to use AI for his vows and for his other relationship shortcuts. In our family counseling session last month, he apologized to me for blaming me for his marriage problems and acknowledged that his own choices had created the situation. He also admitted that he'd been feeling overwhelmed by wedding planning and work stress, and that he made the lazy choice to use AI instead of asking for help or communicating with Sarah about his struggles. He said he learned that avoiding problems doesn't make them go away, it just makes them worse. Sarah has been incredibly gracious through all of this. She told me that she doesn't blame me for laughing at the vows, and that she understands why someone would find the situation absurd. She said she was more hurt by Cody's deception than by my reaction to it. Linda and I have also made significant progress in counseling. We've established better boundaries about family conflicts and improved our communication about difficult topics. Linda has acknowledged her tendency to enable Cody's behavior, and I've recognized my own patterns of criticism and judgment. The counselor helped us understand that blended families often have these kinds of loyalty conflicts, and that it's normal for these tensions to surface during major family events. We've learned strategies for handling future conflicts more constructively. Cody and Sarah actually had a small vow renewal ceremony last month, just immediate family. This time, Cody wrote his own vows, and they were genuinely heartfelt and personal. He talked about learning from his mistakes and committing to putting real effort into their relationship going forward. I was honored that they invited me to the vow renewal, and I managed to keep my composure throughout the entire ceremony. Afterward, Cody joked that he was relieved I didn't burst out laughing again. Looking back on this whole situation, I think everyone learned important lessons. Cody learned that shortcuts and deception damage relationships. Sarah learned to communicate her needs more clearly instead of hoping Cody would figure them out. Linda learned that defending problematic behavior doesn't actually help anyone. And I learned that sometimes being judgmental can accidentally expose real problems that need to be addressed, but that there are much better ways to handle these situations than public humiliation. The family relationships are actually stronger now than they were before the wedding disaster. We're all communicating more honestly and directly with each other, and we've established healthier boundaries and expectations. Final update. 4 months later, I'm writing this final update because I want to close out this story on a positive note. The wedding disaster that seemed like it would destroy our family actually brought us closer together in the long run. Cody and Sarah celebrated their 6-month anniversary last week, and their marriage is genuinely thriving. They've continued with counseling and have developed much better communication patterns. Sarah said that working through the vows incident taught them how to handle conflict constructively instead of avoiding difficult conversations. Cody has become much more thoughtful and intentional in his relationship. He puts real effort into remembering important dates, planning meaningful gestures, and communicating openly with Sarah about his feelings and concerns. Sarah said he's become a partner she always hoped he could be. Linda and I completed our marriage counseling program, and our relationship is stronger than it's been in years. We've learned to navigate step-family dynamics much more effectively, and we've established clear boundaries about how to handle conflicts involving our adult children. Linda has stopped automatically defending Cody when he makes mistakes, and I've learned to express concerns about family members in private, constructive conversations rather than through public criticism or judgment. The extended family relationships have also improved. We had a big family gathering for Thanksgiving, and for the first time in years, there was no underlying tension or unresolved conflicts. Everyone has learned to communicate more directly and honestly with each other. My daughter Emma, who found the whole situation hilarious from the beginning, said she's proud of how everyone handled the aftermath and learned from their mistakes. She said it's been interesting to watch the adults in the family actually grow and change their behavior patterns. The AI vows incident has become something of a family legend now. Cody and Sarah can laugh about it, and Cody sometimes jokes about his brief career as an AI collaborator. He's even written some genuinely funny social media posts about the experience. Most importantly, Cody learned that authenticity and effort matter more than perfection in relationships. Sarah learned that she can communicate her needs and expectations clearly without being demanding or unreasonable. And they both learned that working through conflict together makes their relationship stronger. I still regret disrupting their original wedding ceremony. That was inappropriate and hurtful regardless of the underlying issues. But I've come to accept that sometimes our worst moments can lead to our most important growth, both individually and as families. The situation taught me that being judgmental and reactive rarely helps anyone, but that sometimes accidents can reveal problems that need to be addressed. The key is learning to handle these revelations with compassion and constructive communication rather than blame and defensiveness. I'm grateful that this story has a happy ending. What could have been a permanent family rift became an opportunity for everyone to grow, learn, and build stronger, more honest relationships with each other. Sometimes the most embarrassing moments in our lives turn out to be the most valuable learning experiences. I'm just glad that everyone in our family was willing to do the hard work of growth and forgiveness that made this positive outcome possible.